know my story. They don't know my story. Nope, they don't know my story.
This is a place where survivors can be seen and be heard and be loved and be free. A place where no judgment comes into mind. This is your moment to shine. People gon' talk, yeah. Haters gon' say what they wanna say, but keep doing you, girl. Cause there will be a brighter day. People gonna talk, yeah. And haters gon' say what they wanna say.
Hello. Welcome to the Survivor's Voice with Alissa R. Jones. I am excited to be on tonight. We have a very, very touching topic. Again, my name is Alissa R. Jones. I am a survivor advocate, the Survivors with Voices founder and CEO. And I am excited because tonight we are talking to Miss Kanea or Shyne, and we are talking about being the mothers of all mothers after losing your child. I'm excited to have my co-host, the none other than Raquel Waldon of Diamonds for You Coaching. She is a certified coach and an amazing friend. And, she just taught me something. This is her birthday month, and she taught me something about friendship and roots. So I am excited because, she has been a root in my life, and I'm excited to have her on the show with me. We're excited about our special guest, Kanea, because again, this is a sensitive topic. Kanea has went through a very trying time with the loss of her son, but also one of the things that I noticed in her story that she sent me that stuck out to me was she said she was from a broken home. Welcome, Kanea. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are excited to have you and
Hello.
excited that you're open to talk about this particular subject. Will you take the time to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story? Like I said, one of the things that stuck out to me is that you said you were from a broken home and that you had your son at 17 years old. So walk us through that journey. Is your mic on?
I am a product and a survivor. Uh, I think that it's on. Can you?
I don't know what's going on, but you're going in and out. Is your internet connection strong, Kanea? You're like freezing up. Are you getting the same thing, Rocky?
Hello? Hear me now?
Yes, I see the same thing. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
freezing.
my mic is on. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to plug it in.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you
We can
now.
hear you now.
I just didn't know what was going on because we couldn't hear you there for a minute.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Her mic is off now. There she is.
Okay. Just, You hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So I had my son at 17, and yeah, I'm a survivor of a broken home. My parents divorced when I was about 9 years old. Um, I would say that it forced me in some aspects of my life to try to reach and find my father. And I ultimately had a baby with someone considered to be at that time my best friend. Um, I just once I had him within the first year of having my son, I was a single mom. So, so I feel like pull up my bootstraps and just I he was him as a single mom for the first 9 years, 10 years of his life, until I got married and I had my second child. But yes, looking back, everything, I just feel as if I was constantly chasing, I guess, the ability not to have my son in the same type of situations that I grew up in, if that's safe to say.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Mm-hmm.
hard when you're a struggling teen. You know, you're trying to get your high school diploma, you're trying to graduate. You what are you gonna do? No, your future, what you done, and it's just like, as mom, I had to get selfish, to get hard headed about being hard headed about being told I wasn't gonna do that life. That I, you know,
Kanea, I hate to cut you off, but I think we are really struggling to hear you. I don't know if it's your internet
if
connection,
I would have
but
waited till I was
am I,
married, but and I um
can
pretty
you hear
much
us,
how things got
Kanea?
started. Um, in my I didn't have this,
Did we lose her?
Hey, Kanea. Okay, it seems like she's froze up, but from what I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rocky, she was saying that her parents divorced at 9, and she was struggling with graduating and becoming a single mother, is
Right.
what I heard. And we're going to try to assist her with
let me
hopefully helping. Can you hear? Yeah, you're frozen. So I don't know if you can kind of plug in to your computer, but we're having a really hard time hearing what you're saying.
Or can you log on with your cell phone?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Kanea, can you hear us? Let me see if I can text her real quick.
Yeah. One of the things I did hear her say, Alissa, was that she didn't want her son to be in the same situation that she was in.
Yeah, I heard that too, which I think all of us, when you become a single mother, go through that. So, but Kanea, I hope you get my message. Hopefully you can log in through your phone and I can bring you right back on. What I'm gonna try to do is just bear with us because I think that it's just
gonna
the
try
devil
again.
trying to keep her. Yes, we're gonna try her again, and hopefully she can log back on. But what's crazy about this, and I know we're gonna get into the story of her losing her son, but Rocky, I was a teenage mother.
Yeah.
And so, when she sent in her story to be on the show with us, I could relate to it. Of course, I haven't lost any of my children, but the fact that you are in a situation and you're a teenage mother can really do some things to you, especially if you don't have that parent support.
Right.
I guess I never asked you. How old was you when you had your daughter?
I was 35.
You wasn't a teenager.
No, I was
Oh
35.
Lord, you waited. You waited. Hopefully,
A long time.
Yeah, you did.
Well, it was a
That's like
struggle.
my
Remember, I had
mother.
infertility issues, so it took me a while to
Oh
get pregnant.
yes.
Yeah, so I
So
had
your
6
daughter's a
surgeries.
miracle baby.
Yes, so I was 6 after 6 surgeries. I
Okay.
was able to conceive. Yeah, so it was worth the
Okay.
wait.
Yeah, I'm
She's-
sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Um, let's see. Hopefully she can log back in. Um,
Well, until she logs back in, why don't we discuss you and talk about how it was for you as a single mom? Hey, that's what we're here
you
for,
would do
right?
that to me, wouldn't
I
you?
would.
You coming for me. See, that's that root.
Listen,
That's that root I'm talking about. That's that root friendship I'm talking about.
I'm just
Man,
saying.
listen. I think for me becoming a teenage mom, for me, I had so many emotions and so many things going on because I was dating an older guy. So, I think for me, I was looking for the father figure that I didn't get, in my home. And so, when this older guy paid me attention, and, the thing was, I found out I was pregnant, but he also had somebody else pregnant around the same time as me. And so, it was a big reality because my little picture of the perfect picket fence family that I had was no longer a picture anymore because there's another female in the picture, and I realized that I was going to be doing this by myself. So that really came a struggle for me. And then just having to move into continuing to go through school, just like Kanea said, and finish school was a struggle. But, when I look back on it, a lot of the things that my mother told me was right. Rocky, we don't see it in that particular time or in that fashion, but a lot of things that she told me that I didn't even want to listen to at the time, she was absolutely right. So that was a struggle in itself. Hmm.
That's one of the things that I try to do now with my daughter as a teenager is have open lines of communication. And one of the things I continuously tell her is that I was that age once. So I understand what it feels like to not want to listen.
Yeah.
And I understand that it's not all conversations are going to be fun and happy, but one day you're going to sit back. And I just recently had that aha moment that all the things that my mother told me, just as you just said, were for my good. And not only that, they came to
Yeah.
fruition. You know, everything came true that she said. And I was like, whoa. And so I just think that
We're gonna bring Kanea back in.
she
She's
back?
back.
Okay. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, ladies. I apologize.
Hey.
Hey.
Is that better?
You.
Is this better?
Okay, much better. We are so glad you're back.
Ay,
You know, Kanea, I am so happy to see you back because Rocky was coming for me. Rocky was coming for me.
The devil he is something.
She started
else.
coming for me. See, that's how these roots do. You know what I'm saying? They start coming for you. She was coming for me. Talking about when I was a teenage mom, and I was like, wait a minute, let me text Kanea and bring her back.
Yes.
This ain't that Alyssa show.
But that's what we're here for. That's
He's
what we're
such a
here
hater,
for.
but he's
I know.
We're here to dig deep.
Rocky, you ain't coming for me today.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Welcome
So,
back to me.
Kanea, I hate to do this to you, but we actually missed a lot of what you said.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, if you'll start over on, telling us about, your broken home and becoming a teenage mother and going into the story of how you lost your son.
Okay. Yes. So as I was saying, 9 years old, it was just like my whole life changed. Marriage, dynamic of my mother and father, over, kaput, blah. So from there, it's, you have, for children, you have this transition. You're like, okay, I stay with my mom, but my dad's out at home. So it was a lot of growing pains. So throughout, I would say my early adolescence, preteen years, teenage years, I just feel like I was stuck in a cycle of just trying to find love, just where you belong, want to belong to somebody, So I ended up having my son with, my sweetheart at the time. And, it again, that was another life change for me because I didn't really have the tools I didn't have the tools in my toolbox to be a mother. All I knew is I had something that I could control the temperature. I can control the narrative. I can control, what I do, what yokes, what curses to break. I just took that and I ran with it fiercely. And so I found myself, of course, you have your mixed emotions. You got your people who say, well, you done messed up, you done threw your life away. You got your people that's like, rooting for you on your side. This is not the end of the world. I just kind of try to find my way. It was more naysayers than yay-sayers. So I had to really, really just grow up and find myself. And once I found a piece of myself, I'll put it like that, I had to manage a life. I was out of the house by 17 years old. Wow. I had my first place by the time I was 18 years old. I was completely independent. I was paying my own bills. Everything was on me. There was no room for error. There was no room for mistake. I either do or we don't. So, sir and I just really, we were mother and son, trust me, to the day he died. But we grew up together. Like, wow, we had to find our little niche, our piece of the world together. And it was like I was all he had, he was all I had. So that's pretty much the story of how he came about. But when he came about, I was dead set and serious about breaking curses.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I lost him. He was actually murdered. He had just turned 21 years old. He had just gotten his first place. And within 2 weeks of him getting his first apartment, he was actually murdered in his apartment. So
sorry to hear that.
Not understanding and not knowing and just not having a grasp of who, what, where, when, and why, it's changed my life.
Right.
Literally, every time I pull out of my driveway, I feel lost in a world where I feel like I'm looking through a veil and I can't tell who is who and what is what. And to me, when I walk out in the world, what goes through my mind is, could it be, you know, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
It's a feeling I would not wish on my worst enemy. I would not wish it on my worst enemy. And I don't have any, but you know, I would not wish that type of pain and that type of fear and that type of confusion when you don't know as a mother if I'm still, my mother still lives in the neighborhood I grew up in, and you know, we've been in that area for over 20 years. So it's even hard for me to go into my own neighborhood because we're so tied in and connected into it as a mother, feeling like, I don't know who killed my child. Was it somebody?
Yeah.
Was it somebody from this neighborhood? Was it somebody from the next neighborhood over? It is sinking. It's sinking. It's painful. And so,
yeah,
aside from dealing with the stress of the loss, the not knowing, you know,
the uncertainty.
Yeah, it's hard. So I never, and I'm gonna say this, and moms out there, I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. Okay.
Yeah.
I never thought, I have looked and read so many articles and I've watched so many videos. I have seen so many protests, and I looked at mothers like Trayvon's mom. I looked at mothers like Michael Brown. And I know every time I've sat on my couch and seen them, and I know how I could tell you how I felt at that moment and how much pain that I felt in my heart for them, never knowing that one day I would be a Michael Brown's mom. I would be a Trayvon's mom.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
wow.
There are just some people in some certain situations you just don't count.
You never
you don't
imagine.
Yeah. So that's something that I'm also trying to acclimate myself to and accept, because it's hard. It's hard because that is what jumpstarts a lot of the days when I'm trying to cope and that reality sets in. And when I'm a clinician as well. So I work in healthcare.
Wow.
So I'm around loss every single day. And I used to handle it so well. And I used to be able to look patients, their children, I used to be able to look them in the eye and say, hey, it's gonna hurt, but it gets greater later. And I'm now, when I'm walking down the hall or I go into a patient room and I'm assessing or I'm doing something and they're telling me about what's happened with them since their last visit or the last time they came, and it involves loss, I lose it. You know what I'm saying? I lose it too.
Right. Well, I want to first say sorry for your loss, but I also want to commend you on your strength.
Thank you.
I want to commend you on your strength, because to wake up every day is a struggle, I'm sure, but you do it, and you do it with purpose, and you do it intentionally. And I personally, as a mom, want to say you're phenomenal for doing just that. You are a hero just for waking up every day and going to work. So I just wanted to say that to you personally from my heart as a mom.
Thank you.
And
so much.
I don't know your loss, but I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah. I think anybody watching this show, Kanea, can feel you. And my heart goes out to you. I believe I came across your profile on Facebook and reached out to you. And it was a story that I read that you shared about losing your son and the forgiveness you had in your heart. And I know that took a lot for you to write that post. And you said one of the things that stuck out in that post, you said, I don't know what the lessons are in all of this, but God, every day I'm your student. Something to that effect. I may be paraphrasing a little bit, but that reached out to my heart, because a lot of times when you lose someone, whether it's your parent, your child, you just don't know the pain somebody feels until you go through that. Now, like as Rocky said, I haven't lost a child yet, but my heart goes out to you, because even in some of your Facebook posts that I read how close you and your child was.
Very.
And when I was able to get his picture and look at his picture, oh my goodness, he is your twin.
Yes. Yeah.
He is your twin. And I just want to speak to your heart right now and tell you that, I'm looking at the comments coming in and the people that are watching your testimony and your story, and you're giving so much hope to so many people. And I just want to say to you that you're not alone. And I know that you kind of been struggling through this alone, but you're not alone. You're now a part of an organization, and you have access to me. You have access to Rocky. And we just want you to know that any way that we can support you, we definitely will, and we definitely can. I want to get to something that you said, that the who, what, where, why.
Right.
I want you to walk us through, at that moment, what was running through your head, and how did you get to a place of forgiveness?
When I initially found out, I wasn't aware until I got to the scene that he was actually murdered. From the time I found out till I got to the crime scene, in my mind as a mother, I didn't know whether he had passed in his sleep. If I didn't know anything. So when I got to the crime scene, like I said, it was just coming. It was coming. I think from that moment, I think I became numb, because I feel my first instinct was to get to my my two other children. And I want to say this. I'm gonna say this briefly, and if you care for me to elaborate, I will.
You're fine.
My son's father and I are not together. Have not been together for over 20 years. So our co-parenting relationship was not the best. So the kind of energy, at the scene was something that I feel like, when I look at it in retrospect, ladies, women, I don't suggest giving up on a co-parenting relationship unless you have no other option, no other choice. Because when it comes down to situations like this, and you've been living a awkward or non-existent type of co-parenting arrangement, and then you find yourself in a situation like this, 95% of the time, you kind of can't fix something that's been broke so long. Because that's not what the temperature is. That's not what the topic was. The topic was somebody has killed our son. Right. So I'm sorry to digress. It's been on my spirit. Now, as far as
no, you're fine.
I had to get on my knees.
Absolutely.
And I had to say a prayer to God and ask him to give me the peace to forgive. And when I prayed to God, it was as if the Holy Spirit was telling me, this sin is already covered.
Wow.
So as that voice was speaking to me and telling me that the sin has already been covered, I had to open my mouth and acknowledge with God and say, God, just like you went to the cross,
hallelujah,
to cover my sin, you didn't go for me you went for us. And when you went then, it was to cover the multitude. And so when I had to accept in that spot, in that space, that he's already died for these people's sins. He's already died for what they've done. That is how I asked God to allow me to forgive.
Yeah.
That is how.
Yeah. That's powerful. That is truly powerful.
Girl, you about to bring me to tears, because that is powerful.
Truly powerful.
Yeah, that was powerful. It looks like we lost her again. Hopefully, she'll log back on and we'll bring her on. But I just had to put that in the chat, Rocky, because I just instantly started to tear up when she said the sin had already been covered, because that was deep. And, you know, a lot of times we'll talk about forgiveness and, you know, don't know how to go about it. And I know that you have helped me in some challenging situations. I ain't there yet, but
one day at a time. Just take one day at a time.
One day at a time. But you know, one of the things that I think you as a life coach has been excellent in helping me with is seeing the bigger picture. And a lot of times when we talk about forgiveness and we talk about, you know, letting go, that becomes hard because we can't see the bigger picture, because we're looking at the right now of, you did this to me, how can I get you back, how can I pay you back, and I'm going to hurt you just like you hurt me. And so forgiveness doesn't even become a thought, because we're so focused on the right now. So that came from a Diamond for You moment teaching from Rocky, because, you know, I have been in some pretty trying situations and really had to. One of the things I learned, though, and I'll say this, Rocky, is one of the things I learned is I have to be careful about who I talk to. I have to be careful about who I vent to. I had gotten into the habit of thinking everybody is my friend. And a lot of times, you know, it came to bite me in the bootay. So I want you to kind of talk about forgiveness, piggyback off of what Kanea said, and really some of the nuggets and steps that you can give some of our viewers to get to that place.
Absolutely. First of all, forgiveness is not for the other person. It's actually for you, because in order to, once you truly forgive, is when you have true peace. When you truly give it all to God and you say, God, release this for me. God, show me the direction and I forgive this person, is truly when you have peace. That's what happened with me when I had to forgive my abuser. And as soon as I did, it was a weight that lifted off of me and my life changed. You know, and some of the things that I try to instill in my clients and people that I love is that, you know, it's not fair, but it's real. And you have to forgive people in order to get to the other side. Anger is all a process. Anger happens, but do you want to stay there? You've heard me say this millions of times by now. Do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? So what that is that, do you want to be right and still be mad at that person because that person hurt you, or do you want to hate that person and have all this anger built up in you, or do you want to be happy and just release them to their own devices? Because 9 times out of 10, they're not even thinking about you and you're holding on this grudge. So if you
and you stay stagnant, you stay right there.
Right. You can't move on, but they've moved on. And here you are right in this place of hurt and pain and anger and misery. But if you just forgive them truly from your heart, your life will just open up. And I'm not saying this just as a life, but I'm saying this as a survivor. You know, when you do truly forgive. I know I tried to forgive for years. That's why I'm saying it's one day at a time. Don't rush yourself. It doesn't happen overnight. So take a process. But when I finally did it, when I finally gave into the forgiveness that God placed in my heart, because we can't ignore his voice when it comes. And that's one thing, she definitely heard his voice. And when you hear God's voice and you really and truly give it to him, it's everything is great. Everything happens for, I mean, it just starts to happen for your life starts then.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's just the way I walked it. And I feel like I teach my clients the same way. We all go through a process, but most people need to understand it doesn't happen immediately.
No.
Go through the process, feel the hurt, feel the pain. Don't ignore it, feel it. And once you feel it, say, okay, God.
Because one of the things you told me, one of the things you told me that I used to think crying was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to cry. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things I can remember when I was going through the process is you said, we were on the phone and you said, Alissa, just let it out. Please. Feel it. Let it out. And I can actually say through that nugget, I was able to release.
Yeah.
And that's something I had never done before because I felt like I have been hurt so many times through my life. I had to put up this persona that Alyssa's okay. I had to put up this wall because I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to feel it. I'd rather do everything I could to keep busy, to not feel the hurt and the pain, to move past what I was feeling.
Exactly. Tears cleanse your soul.
And then most of us
tears
are
cleanse
raised,
your soul.
most of us are raised that crying is a sign of weakness.
And it's not.
You know, if you, what are you crying for? You know, hush. Yeah, you know,
right. But that's why we have to break those generational curses.
Yes.
That's why we have to stop that, because tears is strength. To be able to show your emotion is strength.
Yes.
You know, hiding your emotion is not. You literally have to be able to show how you feel, and no one will know. I wouldn't have. I heard it heard it in your voice, Alissa, and I'm like, just let it out. But it is important to do that in safe places with safe people. You be careful who you share those moments, those intimate moments, because everybody is not going to take it as strength. They will try to use it against you.
Right.
But you share those vulnerable moments with people that can handle your pain.
Exactly.
And so I'll cry in a minute. So
I don't reveal anything anymore unless I know that the person I'm divulging to is a intercessor. They have it in their spirit.
Oh, that's
They're
good.
able to, you know what I'm saying? I'm not at this stage in my life, because I was telling a friend the other day, I was just like, you know, have you ever just felt like you got to tell the Lord, look, I'm humbled. You ain't got to take nothing else from me. You ain't got to do nothing else. You ain't got to, you don't have to put me in timeout no more. Look, if nobody told you, I'm humbled, okay? So, you know, I'm just at a place in my life where I'm so humble.
Yeah.
And it's not that I wasn't before. It's just that when you hit a bottom, you know what I'm saying? Because I believe that, looking back, I believe God is so purposeful. He's so complete. And I just believe my son's death was his birth. And his loss for me was my exodus, because it has become a catalyst. It's become a beacon. It's become something that has taught me how to love and not apologize for it. You don't have to go run off to Dubai to be happy. You don't have to run 2-3 states away to be happy. You can stand right here in your truth, and you can be happy anywhere you want. And anybody that don't have mean you well, you are it is well, you know. And I just think that the majority of my son's life, majority of my life, because he's technically half my age, I'm 38, so I feel like a majority of our lives we loved under duress. We loved under duress.
Wow.
You know? And so like I said, it was a birth for him, because he came through and taught the lesson.
Right.
And the exodus is how I take that blessing and go on with it and share it with my other 2 surviving children. And some of the things that my son and I went through, some of the growing pains and the duress and stress that we went through, I've always said, Lord, I don't have no tools. I don't have tools for this. I don't have tools for that. I don't have tools for that. And it's like, I woke up on May 29th, 2020 with tools.
Wow.
By the time
That's good.
on my pillow.
You just said, Kanea, you said you hit rock bottom. And there's this quote that I used to say, sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to understand that God is the rock at the bottom.
Yes, he is. All day. All day.
You really do.
All day.
And sometimes God will bring you to your knees.
Yes.
He has to.
So you can recognize who he is.
Yes.
And so one of the things I want to know, I hear you talk about your son. Tell us about Zion. Tell us about who he was in his life before he died at 21.
He was my hype man. He was I could not find a better fan. Okay. Than my son. Like, don't get me wrong, our relationship was not perfect.
Right.
But my children know,
of course,
what I expect from them. My tough love came from, look, unless you okay. So he was,
that's that mama love.
Yes.
That's that mama love.
You know, I'm the get along t-shirt mom. I'm the, y'all fighting? Y'all arguing? Oh, okay, come here. So
Yeah.
He was my hype man. He was that person that would not allow you to be upset about nothing. Even when you just let me be mad real. He was so protective. He was he had a very comical personality. Like, you could not be in a bad mood around him. He wouldn't allow you. He he was just an all around funny, loving, and he did not treat one person different from the next person. Like, if he'll fight for you, he'll fight for you. He'll fight for you. He was the type of person, if he was standing there, he saw something wrong going on, he was just like me. He gonna say something, He loved his cousins. He was a very family-oriented boy, and which I could understand, coming from a broken home himself. He really emphasized on family, cousins, grandparents, aunts, uncles, things like that. He took care of himself. He took care of his body. He would help anybody. He would help anybody. He had his quirks, he had his faults, he had his flaws.
We all do.
But yeah, we all do.
At the end of the day, like, he really, really taught me what love really means. And I don't mean just any kind. I'm talking, he taught me what unconditional love means.
That's good.
So do you feel that was his purpose? His purpose on earth was to teach you what it meant to have pure unconditional love. He was your gift, your personal gift from God, that you were allowed to have for 21 years to show you what real love is supposed to feel like.
Yes.
That's a gift that, that's an amazing gift to get, So that love, and I'm sure, you still feel his presence and his love on a daily basis.
I do.
Because that love just doesn't leave.
No.
It just doesn't end. It just doesn't end. Right.
Like my aunt always says, whether on this side or the other, the bond cannot be broken.
Cannot be broken.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
Now, did I see you are getting married?
Yes. That's the reason. Thank you. That's the reason why I say God is so complete and he's so purposeful. I was supposed to initially get married on May 9th.
Wow.
And had the wedding not been pushed back due to the pandemic, I would have gotten married on May 9th and lost my son 20 days later.
Wow.
And at first, I'm like, this guy better take a, I'm not getting married. Like, I'm not getting married this year. Like, until 2020 rolls up his yoga mat and gets out of here. Okay.
I know, right?
Like, take your
throw the whole year away.
And go. Okay.
We're gonna throw the whole year away.
Yes. And I was just like, no. So, he saw fit to allow us to still share our vows this year. And it hurt a lot because when the day I messaged my son and told him that the venue put off the wedding for a future date to be announced, the last message that he sent me was, of course, I'll be there. That makes me so happy. That makes my heart smile. And he told me in that same sentence, I love you to the day I die.
Wow.
So we're we're gonna honor him at the wedding.
Awesome.
I can't have it any other way.
So. Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So, Kanea, I want you to do me a favor right now, and I want you to talk to the viewers. Talk to the viewers and talk to that mother right now that has lost a child, that has been where you are and don't know how to get past it, don't know how to get to a place of forgiveness. Share with them encouraging words that you may wish that somebody would have shared with you, or you may wish that somebody had said to you during your time.
Don't give up, mothers. Don't give up. Don't allow the pressures of this world to kind of, railroad you into getting back to some type of systematic, rhetoric of everyday life. I had to take time away. I had to take time off. I had to get to a point where, like I said before, I only let those in that were for the edification of not just me, my mind, my body, and my spirit. I got to a point where, those people that are really just watching they're watching your statuses to see if you back on,
Right.
Yeah. To see, to see, okay, can I start kicking it and sharing memes again?
Right.
And I had to get away from those people that place an expiration date on grief. I had to separate myself from people who were communicating with me and talking to me as if nothing's happened and, hey girl, such, and I'm like, oh, how could you be worried about that right now? I'm not. So I had to get to a point where I said, okay, Kanea, look, you got to take your time. This is between you and God.
Absolutely.
Because ain't nobody, first of all, there is nobody that's reaching out to you,
right,
who got your baby. Okay.
Wow.
So
wow.
nobody that's reaching out to you and communicating back and forth around this house is like, hold on. Let me put him on the phone. Okay?
Right.
So I've not been worried about people per se who my spirit discerns to me are really just waiting for me to get over it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Which has been a blessing, because the ones who remain, the ones who are doing the opposite, are the ones that I sit and I pray for, and I petition God, and I come to him and I ask him to bless them as well as the other folks. But if I could say anything to a grieving mother, I would say to take everything to God. Take everything to him first. Absolutely. Because those days when you're feeling low, the days you feeling lonely, the days you feeling like enough is enough, take it to him first. Because I'll tell you one thing. If he wants you to tell somebody else, he'll put it on your spirit.
Come on.
And if he don't want you to tell somebody else, guess what? His word says, I will send you help.
Absolutely.
I don't tell nobody nothing. Okay?
Yeah.
With the exception of maybe
I got a message from somebody that just said, what if you lost your faith in God?
Wow.
They're angry at God because their child is gone. What do they do?
ask God to give you the peace to understand him. Ask God to give you the peace to trust him again. It's okay. You know, I used to think it wasn't okay to tell God that you didn't feel comfortable about how long he was taking with some stuff. Or I didn't think it was okay to tell God, look, God, I know I prayed 2 hours ago and I said, Lord, the last thing I said was, I'm leaving it at your feet. Thank you for taking it from me. Your yoke is easy. And thank you for, you know what I'm saying, that word, blah, blah, blah. But I'm checking on things again. I would tell that mother, it's okay to ask God to restore your hope. It's okay to ask him to restore your faith. It's okay to tell him whatever. It's okay to say, Lord, I'm mad. You know, it took my aunt to teach me a lot of things that allowed me to pray different, to expect different. I had to change the way I prayed. And one of the things I have, and the question from that mother, I went through moments where I was completely inconsolable, and it wasn't nothing rushing to my emotions, but grief and hurt and pain. And then 20, 30 minutes later, that pain, I'm not crying anymore. I'm walking through my house screaming to the top of my lungs. And those, I stopped calling them killers. I started calling them children of God, because the devil wants us to forfeit our vindication when things happen to us. The first thing the devil does outside of the insult is try to add insult to injury. So he tries to get us to, nobody else, without any intervention, he tries to get us to forfeit our vindication. And that is that vindication is the thing that allows us to stand on the right side of God and say, get him, daddy. That right there.
There you go.
Right there. Get him, daddy.
There you go.
And so when we get to allowing anger to consume us and get in our heart and get in our spirit, we are forfeiting our vindication. Now, instead of going to deal with them, God got to deal with you.
Absolutely.
So I can't even delve off into dealing with you want me to handle, because I got to deal with you first. So
that's it.
To that mother, I know it's easier said than done. But just know that whoever you are, I'm going to start interceding for you on your behalf, for you to accept what God allows, for you to forgive him and forgive yourself.
Absolutely.
And whoever you are,
that's it.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. Yes. So oftentimes people think that it's the forgiveness is just for the other person, but you also have to forgive yourself for the feelings that you have. You have to go deep within yourself and say, God, please forgive me, or allow me to forgive me, because I shouldn't have had that thought. I shouldn't have said those words. I shouldn't have done the things that I know I shouldn't have done. But you also have to, forgiveness starts with yourself. Because you can't truly forgive anybody until you've forgiven yourself first. So that's really powerful. Very powerful.
That is powerful. Kanea, tell us about how are you being intentional about your 2 surviving children? We know that you lost your children, but sometimes I have one mother that had sent in a message before the show. She says she's so caught up in the loss of her child that she can't be intentional about her children that are living.
That was me.
So let's talk about that.
That was me in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to face my children with my, okay. My children were all 9 years apart. My 21-year-old, who is no longer with me, my 12-year-old, and my 2-year-old. And so my 12-year-old, I wasn't really able to face her after initially telling her, because I did not know how to hold myself together in front of her. I didn't know how to hold myself together. And so I'm rubbing your back, telling you, oh baby, we're gonna be all right, which I did not believe, of course. I didn't believe that.
Not at that time.
Yeah, I didn't believe that. So it's like it was hard for me to face her. But then I went through a completely opposite with my 2-year-old. My 2-year-old, I was waking up every 30, 40 minutes a night, looking at his chest, making sure he's breathing. So it had totally different effects on me. I'm literally was sleep deprived for the first month because, I was spent. But what helped me was family. And from the outside, another relative talking to your child and saying, hey, when your mother cries, let her cry. Okay. Don't try to stop her from crying. Don't, it took other loved ones to kind of come and coach her along and let her know, what to expect and how to handle me, how for me to handle her. And with the baby, of course, he's not going to remember any of this, but it's hard, mom, out there. But I know you want to shut down, and I know you probably shut down, and it's so easy to do because you just want to contain the forest fire. You don't want, I'm the same type of person. When I'm hurting, I look at it as a forest fire. I try intentionally for it not to spread, which is a blessing and a curse because sometimes it keeps you from asking for help.
Absolutely.
So, don't shut down, mom. If you need to reach out to somebody, reach out to them. Be purposeful about that. Tell them, if I didn't stop you right now and say, hey, I need your help, I don't know where else I would go to. That's another thing I had to start doing was when the moment hit me and I was out in the world, I'm at the store, I'm at this, I'm at, instead of running out of that Dollar Tree or running out of that Kroger, there are people watchers out there. There are people who are walking around and they can see, and there will be times I'll be minding my business, standing in line maybe to make a deposit, and you have somebody that look at the tears from the side welling up in your eye. Are you okay, baby? You know what? Thank you, Lord. No, I'm not, ma'am. But I'm glad that you were here right now in this line behind me, and that you took the initiative to allow the Lord to use you. What he just told you to do, I thank you for answering that call. So to that mother, don't give up. Don't shut your babies out. Let them come to you. Let them love on you. Just embrace it. Do not give up.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that, Raquel?
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, I think that in a world we live in right now, compassion is the most important thing that we have for one another. And when you see someone, especially as a woman, you don't know her story. You don't know what she's going through. You don't know anything. If you see somebody like that, it is our responsibility as women, as children of God, to actually say, everything okay? I'm praying for you. And do you want to talk about it? For me, I get that. I have that happen all the time in stores because for whatever reason, I have a face that people think everybody's like, can I ask you a question about this? Sure. But I totally agree with you on opening up and being transparent when you can, because you just never know what your story might do for someone else. That person that hears it might truly need to hear that very thing at that very moment to save their life. So don't shut up. tell the world if you have to about your story, because somebody needs to hear it. And I know you've helped me today, and I'm so grateful.
You helped me as well.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, helped me as well. And we definitely want to thank you for being transparent. One of the other things, and we'll close it out with this question, is, going through, what you've been through, and you're at the stage of rebuilding because, again, this just happened this year. What is your process in rebuilding your life, rebuilding? And I know it can never be rebuilt because you did lose your son, but what I mean by that, you mentioned earlier, getting back to a sense of normalcy. So can you walk us through what does that look like for that survivor that just can't get to a normal place in their life right now?
My suggestion and my vision, seeking God first, of course, is always going to be
Absolutely
right at the top, number one. Because if it had not been for the Lord, I really don't know where I'd be. And yes, Sharika, transparency. My legacy now is based off of the gift.
awesome.
So I know I can tell you what I believe my son's legacy was. And I feel like my legacy is piggybacking off of the gift, off of the love that he showed. My most greatest aspiration is to have a platform one day where I can go and I can minister to parents. I would not ever I would never wish losing a child on any woman or man, period. But when you do not have a healthy co-parenting relationship, it compounds the situation to the 10th degree. And I just want to give back to my son what he wasn't able to see before he left this earth, and that was a healthy, cohesive relationship between his paternal family, his maternal family, his mother, his father, his grandmother, and grandmothers and aunts, and such and so on and so forth. I if I could go back and do it all over again, even though like a lot of women be like, well, I mean, I could do it all over again, but I'm not wrong. I wasn't wrong. It doesn't matter. I could go back, I would have been a ferocious beast about, I don't care. You're going to like me. And we're going to do this. And we're going to make this work.
We made this baby. You like me.
At the end of the day, the brokenness, it carried all the way to and through the funeral.
Right.
And I would my thing is, and that's part of the reason why a lot of our babies are perishing, because they live two different lives with two different sides when the sides don't agree.
Right.
And what you may allow may not be allowed on this side, what they may not allow, vice versa. And I just know that we always think, and hate is a strong word, Lord, forgive me if I'm wrong. I can't stand the saying, oh, 5 more years, 6 more years. Well, you know what? In 5 more years, I ain't got to deal with her. I ain't got to deal with him. Well, guess what? When it came down to those funeral arrangements,
you had to deal with each other.
I had to sit in that room and face that man.
Right. You know, one of the things that I often tell, I tell couples, and and especially co-parenting situations, it's not about you anymore. When you decided to have that child, it's no longer about you. Yeah, I'm going for it. It's not about you. it's about the baby.
Yes.
And it's about from birth to death.
Mm-hmm.
It's about that child.
Yes.
And I think that we're human, so we make
Yes.
those mistakes and we
Yes.
get caught up in our emotions and we forget that that child didn't ask to come here.
Yes.
We created that baby.
Yes.
Between God gave it to us. We were the vessel to bring that child here. Now it's our responsibility. I don't care if you don't like me, but when it comes to this baby,
there you go.
We got to make this thing happen. We ain't got to speak. We ain't got the only time we need to talk is when it's concerning the child.
Yes.
And people just don't think about that because we get caught up in our own emotions.
Yes.
And we forget that there's a innocent. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's an innocent.
But you're absolutely right.
Innocent.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, it's
You're
true.
absolutely right.
It's an innocent, and from birth to death.
Because that was you know, that was one of the hardest things I've ever been through, aside from losing him, was how
I can't imagine
how difficult it was to actually agree, get this done, get that done, when you have so many years and years stacked on years of discord and confusion and disarray and so on and so forth. And I don't care what nobody says. When just because your child turns 18, just because they turn 21, if they are not married and they don't have a wife or some children or whatever, guess what? You still gonna have to deal with that other parent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. But and it doesn't stop even then.
No,
I mean, it just doesn't stop. But the thing about it, I think that a lot of us miss it, and a lot of us miss that moment you said, because at that moment when you guys are planning it, I mean, I know I'll be transparent and say me put in that situation, be like, why are you even here?
Don't get, I would say that.
But that's his child. But why are you here? You ain't been
Why
here.
are you here? You ain't.
That's what in my mind what I would have been
here. Yeah.
Which would have been wrong for me to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would have been wrong for me to say, because we went half on this baby.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And you disappeared for more than half.
In any situation, no matter what the situation is. And I can only imagine, Kanea, your thought processes and your pain. I can only imagine, and I'm proud of you for. Did we lose her? I think she's frozen.
Me?
Did you say, did we lose her? Is that what you said?
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah, I can't. She's frozen. She's frozen on my screen.
I'm here.
Okay.
She's talking, but her picture's frozen for some reason.
Right. No, but I'm
right.
grateful.
Yes. Oh, yes. I can hear you, ladies.
Okay.
Your picture's frozen though.
Look, and it's weird because on the I'm moving.
Crazy. But I just had one more question come in, and I hate to do this to you, but this is a really good question.
Okay.
You had mentioned something about making the funeral arrangements, and so this viewer wants to know about life insurance and how important is life insurance, and was that in place? Which is a really good question, because a lot of us us as parents, we don't prepare for that. We don't have life insurance, and so we have to figure out how to bury our child, or the importance of life insurance, because we didn't have it.
I thank God for his grace, and I thank God for the fact that he knows more than I thank God for his just ability to know what we need and how we need it and when. And am I still frozen, or can you see me?
No, we see you. I see you.
Okay.
You're fine. You're fine.
All of my children were covered. All of my children have life insurance.
Yes. Good.
I have some absolutely wonderful agents who are young like me, but we believe in being prepared.
Yeah.
I'll give you a testimony to God's goodness, because when I initially got life insurance, I didn't have all the children covered, because at the time my son, he was grown. And I remember one day we were having a conversation. He he sent me a video on Instagram, and he was like, "Mama, look, I'm out here on the water," because he had just recently began working for the Port Authority. So he was in the water, and he was like, "Yeah, Mom, I'm on the water." I'm like, "So them people got you out there? What?" So, I added
that's for mama. That's for mama.
Life policy, because he had, yes, because I'm like, first of all, it's a rig. It's a big rig, Lord, and that's water. You know what I'm saying? That's water.
Did he swim?
Yes, when he, yes. So when he, yes, and it was crazy because I added him to my policy at that time, thinking in my head as a mother, well, he has a very, God. That's not knowing for that conversation. It was God. It was nobody but the Lord. It was God preparing it.
Wow.
And so when this happened, it was devastating, because I didn't even have the nerve for the gall to call my agents. She saw it on my page. I just lost my firstborn son. I didn't even have the wherewithal to call nobody, say, "Hey, cut me this, cut me that." I still stayed numb for months. And having people nudge me along, saying, hello, you got to go, so
right.
Yes, parents, I don't care how you look at it, and I know that there's a lot of times we look at it and it's like, they're gonna be taking that out of my account every month. Right. Do it.
Absolutely.
Do it. I can't stress it enough.
Yeah.
Do it. It's not promised. It's not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my family, even though my child was covered, my family still stepped in and was like, "Look, we're not shaking no cups. So one way or the other, we're gonna get this done." So no, don't put yourself in that type of situation to learn the hard way who's for you and who's not. So
because GoFundMe is not life insurance.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, GoFundMe is life insurance.
Yes,
it's not.
It's like,
it's not.
Yeah, it's really not. Because see, I'm gonna tell you what I think, and it might be wrong. What I think when I see those GoFundMes is you didn't even take the time to do life insurance. Why should I invest? Why should I give you my money to bury your child or parent, whoever it may be, when you could have paid $20 a month for life insurance?
Right. Yeah,
that's just my thought.
I agree because you have people that'll set it up and they're not really even the real
their intent isn't good.
Right.
Yeah, it's tricky for me because it's just like, come on, would this person even be happy that you're soliciting funds on GoFundMe? Would the deceased even be happy? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of deceased people out there that look back and be like, I know they did not set up no GoFundMe.
Yeah, in my name.
Coming back from the dead.
In my name.
Yes.
In my name.
Yeah. Yes. So.
Yeah. Well, Kanea, we most certainly thank you. Yeah, it really is. We most certainly thank you for being our guest tonight. We thank you for being transparent and sharing your story. I want to take the time to speak to that individual and that survivor right now that may have just lost a child. You might have lost your parent. You might have lost anybody in your life, especially with this COVID season that I have. We just want to take the time to say that, we thank you for watching. And we also thank you for really digesting what Kanea had to say tonight. It takes a lot for a mother to share that they lost their child and to go and relive those moments. But one of the things that I appreciate her for is she realizes that her story is not for her, but for that survivor that is going through at this present time. So we want to speak to you right now that if you're that individual or that survivor that has just lost a child or lost someone close to you, that you have organizations that are available and to you and you're not alone. One of the things I wanted to say to you, Kanea, that I heard you say is that you wanted to share your story on platforms. I don't know if you know this, but Survivors with Voices has a segment called Mothers with Voices. And I started doing that when one of my chapter presidents in Atlanta had lost her son to gun violence. And then I'm from Springfield, Ohio, and I have a lot of mothers that have lost their children to gun violence that I honor them for that. And so, whenever we have an event for those mothers that have lost their children to gun violence, and then we also threw in domestic violence as well, because we do have some survivors that have lost their children to domestic violence, we would love to have you to share your knowledge, to share your experience, and to pour into those parents. And then also maybe we could talk about off the air creating something for to create that bridge for co-parenting, to create that bridge for this estranged co-parenting. And it can even happen after death, to be honest with you, because a lot of times that parents that or survivors that lost their children, both of the parents, a lot of times they forget about the fathers that have lost those children as well. So we would love for you to be a part of Mothers with Voices and do some work with that part and piece of our organization. I also want to thank my co-host, Rocky. She came for me a couple times in this segment, but it's
I
okay.
did.
It's
It's
okay.
okay. You'll be okay.
It's okay
That's what I
because,
do.
honestly, yeah, that's okay. That's why you're a root. I love it.
Yeah.
But I had to, it really this segment really gave me the opportunity to self-reflect on some of the things that I'm going through in my life personally, with my children and some of the co-parenting things and issues that I have in my life. So Kanea, I thank you for that as well.
You're
I
welcome.
want to definitely thank Rocky for the wisdom that she shared, the wisdom that she poured into the viewers as well. If you'd like to be on the show, definitely email me at info@survivorswithvoices.org. Rocky, why don't you tell people on how to get in touch with you for certified life coach sessions as well?
Okay. Well, you can reach me at Diamond Coach for You, Diamond Coach, the number 4, you.com. I'm taking new clients right now. We can do it virtually, whatever your comfort level is. I am a upfront type of coach, and if I tear you down, I promise you I'll put you back together
Build
before the
you
end of
up.
the session. I have a heart of compassion, and my purpose is to push others to their purpose. So Diamond Coach for You. I'm also on Instagram at Diamond Coach for You. I would love to hear from you. Anything you need. I'm a survivor myself, so I understand, and I'm just grateful to be here.
Oh yes, I am too.
Awesome.
Extremely.
Any last words for our viewers, Kanea?
Just hang in there, pray.
Yes,
Women, let's start empowering each other. We
absolutely.
backbitten, talked about, cut each other down. We
Yes,
I'm just saying we've done it for so long. It,
absolutely.
it it's
Yeah.
it's so it's sewn into our families. It's
Yeah,
sewn into our interpersonal relationships. It's sewn into our careers. That yoke has been sewn into every avenue, everywhere we go.
absolutely.
So let's just get to a point where we celebrate like this podcast. Let's celebrate each other like this all the time.
Right.
So
Kanea,
that we can heal our land, heal our families, and heal our children.
Kanea, I completely agree with you, but I want to just add a nugget with that. It doesn't have to be that way. I just came off an amazing experience with my core friends, my roots, as Alissa keeps referring to, and it was 9 women that literally the entire weekend was about love and empowering and encouraging. And so it is possible. We just have to stop looking at each other the way the world wants us to look at each other, and we need to see each other with the eyes of God and love. And so it's possible. I mean, we just got to do it. I mean, because trust me, none of my friends knew it. They don't know each other, and they all came together because of me. And that love is just, I'm still feeling it today. So
that's awesome. Well, again, we thank all the viewers for watching. This isn't an easy topic to discuss, but we thank you for tuning in because it is necessary. We pray that you've been encouraged to keep fighting and keep surviving. We want you to stay connected with us, the Survivors Voice with Alissa R. Jones on Facebook and Instagram. And again, we want to thank you and thank our guests. We also thank our co-host. Until next Monday, thank you guys for watching, and we appreciate each and every one of you.
Love you all.
Bye-bye.
bye.